Hello and welcome again to King of Games Mobile. Today I'm diversifying a little bit. Most of my content up till now has been about Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, and I will continue to make content on that game. But another game that I really enjoy is Summoner's War. Now, there's no shortage of Summoner's War content, but what I've noticed is that a lot of times when you're looking for monster reviews, you get these long 10, 15-minute videos, and a lot of times, especially as a beginner, there's only a little bit of information that you really need. So what I'm doing is I'm going to start a series of monster reviews for now, and I'm going to try and just focus it for brand new players, a quick video that tells you what you need to know without any of the extra fluff. So to begin with, I'm going to start with one of the first monsters that you get in the game, Lapis. Now, this monster starts off before you awaken her as the Water Magic Knight. Now, the first question most people ask is, what does she do? Well, let's take a look at her skills. Her leader skill is that she increases the attack power of ally monsters by 25%. So if you put her in the leader position, no matter what the other monster's type or attribute, she will grant them the 25% bonus. This is what you call a universal leader skill, and it's really good. A lot of the other leader skills are actually limited to all wind monsters, all fire monsters, or all monsters in guild battles, or all monsters in the dungeons, etc. So having that general skill can be really helpful, especially for a new player. Okay. Blade Surge attacks the enemy target 2 times and attacks all enemies with even more powerful attack on the third attack. Decreases the enemy's attack bar by 25% every hit with a 50% chance. So, she attacks one target 2 times. The third target, or the third attack, attacks everything. That's what you call area of effect. So that's great. That's good for farming. And then the last thing is that she decreases the enemy's attack bar by 25% every hit with a 50% chance. So there's a chance that when she hits the enemy, it's going to reduce their attack bar. That effectively slows the enemy down, which means they attack you less frequently, which means she has a better chance of surviving. That's great. The second skill shoots 4 magic bullets that seek enemies with low HP ratio. The bullets have a 50% chance to decrease the target's defense for 2 turns each. So basically, this goes after the monsters that have the lowest hit point percentage, and then it's also a 50% chance of being a defense breaker. So defense break basically means that the enemy monster is going to take more damage than it normally would. So that's a good thing. The last skill, Retrieve Magic, steals the magical power from all enemies, recovering HP according to the damage dealt. Also absorbs 25% of the attack bar. So that's really good. It attacks all the enemies, it helps heal her, and it reduces all of their attack bars by 25%, which, again, that slows the enemy down and gives you a better chance to survive. So, basically, she's going to be a farmer. You're going to use her to go through all the scenarios, even up to and maybe sometimes past Feynman Hell. Some people also use her in PvP and Tower of Ascension, but I'll mention those builds a little bit later. But her main thing is she's an early game farmer. So the next question, should I keep it? Absolutely yes, you should keep her. Now, some players later on in the game, they tell you they don't need it, or go ahead and feed her. Sometimes those are people trolling you, trying to get you to get rid of your best monsters because they think it's funny to make the game worse for other people. Or they might be, conquerors or whatever and have, 30 natural 5 monsters. And yeah, in that case, you can get rid of her. But as a beginner player, definitely keep her. Should I 6-star it? That's kind of a controversial question. Again, the higher level players are definitely going to tell you no, do not 6-star her. They'll tell you to concentrate on something else. I would not be so quick to say absolutely do not 6-star her. As you go through the game, you'll get a lot of free mystical scrolls, a light and dark scroll, a legendary scroll, even as a free-to-play player. And then if you buy some of the premium packs, there's a chance you'll get something pretty good that you might want to 6-star before her. But if she's the best monster you have, and you want to 6-star her, you can, but just know that, every time you 6-star a monster, that's going to take you a few hours of grinding. And as a new player, probably quite a few hours of grinding. So you have to ask yourself if it's worth it to you. How do I rune it? Well, if you look here, it shows that she's an attack monster. And if you look at her skills, as we mentioned, they're all attack. There's nothing that's hit point based or defense based or speed based. So most people, especially a while ago, would have told you to Fatal Blade her, which is what this is. The Fatal set gives her extra attack. The Blade set gives her extra crit damage. And if you look at the slots, people tell you to like attack, crit damage, attack. I just put random runes on her. This is not my main account. This is just an alternate I created to mess around with when I was out of energy on my main account. So ideally you put attack here. And when people say attack, crit damage, attack, or whatever, they're talking about slots 2, 4, and 6. Slot 2, 4, and 6 are the only ones that can have a percentage. See attack percentage. Whereas the 1, 3, and 5 are all going to have flat stats for their main stat. So that's what that means. And that's a decent rune set. What I would do, though, is just put on whatever trash, Fatal, and Blade runes you have, and then try and get friends and grind up through Feynman Hell, or not Feynman Hell, the one right after that. I believe it's Aiden Forest, as fast as you can, and you'll need to rely on people's rep monsters. But if you go in the chat and just respectfully ask, you don't say, level 50s add me, or strong players add me. Say something more like, if there are any strong players who have room on their friend list to lend me their reps, I'll delete after if you want to. I'd really appreciate it. Something like that. Something respectful. And, there are nice people in this game that will help you out. And use their reps to clear. And then when you clear Aiden Forest normal, you should get a Vampire and Revenge rune set. It'll be attack, crit damage, attack. So for beginners, well, not very beginners because you won't have the runes, but as soon as you get that rune set, I advise putting them on Lapis. The reason is because Vampire means that you retrieve energy based on the damage you deal every single attack. And then the Revenge means that she's more likely to counterattack, which means more healing. So essentially what you're trying to do with this rune set is to get her to heal as much as possible. The reason for that is if you manage to get that rune set on her, she will be able to farm Feynman Hell solo eventually. You'll need to level her up, get her 5-starred at least, and you'll need to upgrade the runes and have a little bit of luck with that. But once you get that done, she can solo Feynman Hell. And for a while, as a beginner, you're going to be using Feynman Hell and Lapis to level up your other monsters. So I would recommend, as I said, giving her some trash runes until you can get the Vampire Revenge runes. Okay, so alternate builds. Another thing some people use her for is Tower of Ascension. There's a monster that I don't have on this account, but he's called Beretta. So Beretta is going to be the fire, this guy but evolved. Where's he at? Or awakened, rather. So let's look at him. And then, yes, okay, look at the awakened. Freera. Where's he at? This is a derpy moment on King of Games Mobile. There we go, Beretta. So what Beretta is going to do is he's going to be what's called Tower of Ascension monster. He has the Phoenix Fury, which inflicts continuous damage to all enemies, which is good. And also people will rune him Despair. What the Despair rune set does is grants a 25% stun rate. So sometimes they'll run Beretta and Lapis together, both on Despair runes. And so what that does in Tower of Ascension is it makes it easier to stun the monsters that you're attacking. And stunned monsters lose a turn, which means you effectively get extra turns, which means you kill them faster and take less damage, which gives you a better chance of surviving the stage. I would not put Lapis on Despair Runes at first. Once you have monsters that you can replace her with, or if you happen to get another Lapis and you feel like spending the time on building her, you could put that one on Despair and use her that way. But I would not do that as a beginner. And then at first, you're going to end up using her in Arena just because she'll be one of your strongest monsters. She's not an arena-specific monster. That's not what she's focused on. But, as an early game player, sometimes you just don't have a lot of options. Now, this is assuming you don't spend just a whole bunch of money. If you drop a few hundred, few $1,000s, then, you'll have crazy monsters. And this video won't apply to you as much. The general advice on how to use her is still sound, but you'll have other monsters to replace her pretty quickly. So anyway, that is my review of the Water Magic Knight, also known as Lapis. I hope you found this helpful. Please mention in the comments if you like the video or if there's something you think I could do to make the video better. Except my voice. I'm actually kind of sick right now, but I was excited about this series and I didn't want to wait to record. I promise my voice will clear up after I get well and it won't be so terrible. I may re-record this video at that point. But other than my voice, anything else that you would like to see different that could make the video more helpful to you, please let me know in the comments. All right, that's it. Thank you for tuning in to King of Games Mobile, and we'll see you next time.